Yeah, we know that AI will not stop. So what we thought there were some theoretical boundaries that we thought AI may stop learning. There are certain boundaries like, well, we've already consumed all the data in the world. So what happens, now we can't, there's no more data. So like when models can't get better. Well, it turns out, we're actually creating more information. Information now doubles in the world every 12 hours. And
Mhm.
so we're creating more data so that the data is actually, again, also the kind of recursive thing. So we know that, every country is different guidelines and boundaries on what their path is in AI. And if you live in the US, then you are now living in a regime that believes that, we need to win the race of AI at any cost. And so the White House's new AI action plan is very, very clear that, any limitation to AI unfolding, like power or state governments or regulation, will be removed out of the way so that the U.S. can win and I use the word perceived arms race.
Yeah.
Um, and the arms race is basically the idea that whoever controls AI wins, or controls the world. I don't really ascribe to that necessarily. I do think there's tremendous power in wielding, this technology. But at the end, I think we know for sure that this pace of change will not decrease. It will only increase. It, as this exponential technology represents that the idea of when we say exponential, most people think of that term more theoretically. And I worked at a cancer hospital. And a cancer hospital, we used to use the phrase that wait, like WAIT, is a four-letter word. And the reason why weight was a four-letter word is that cancer is an exponential disease. So you start out with, one cell and one becomes two and two become four and four become eight, eight becomes 16 and so on, 32. And very, very quickly it becomes this race, right, to stop a disease before it takes hold. So weight is a four-letter word. And that shows the exponential nature of something like that. And there's this thing called the 42 fold test. If you take a piece of paper and you fold it 42 times, which I physically impossible, but theoretically, if you take a piece of paper, you can look it up, 42 fold test. You fold it 42 times, that paper will reach from the Earth to the moon in 42 folds.
Yeah.
And so exponentials are real. And so we've never experienced a technology that it was exponential. It's not dependent on, how many, really smart, kids wearing hoodies can go to work and like, create the next code. I don't know if you saw yesterday, but ChatGPT 5 came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it actually in one single prompt wrote 400 lines of code on its own to create a visualization on thermodynamics. So
Wow.
it's no longer dependent on humans to create the new thing. So all that to say is that we can fully expect what we consider the information explosion to happen by the end of 2027. And the information explosion means it's just like, we're doubling information every 12 hours now. Like, what does that look like when it's every 4 hours?
Yeah.
And so, it causes lots of concern, but also opportunities to like question everything about what were the limitations in fundraising, in philanthropy that existed before that no longer exist. And it's not about efficiency or automation. It's about literally overcoming things that were impossible,
Yeah.
that the limitations of technology just would not let us even dare think about. But now we can rethink everything we think we know about everything. And that's to me like super, super exciting.